Hello and welcome to TotoTCG. So we are back here with something to do with Pokemon, and this is something which we did before. This was actually before Ultra Prism came out, and a lot of people enjoyed it. Sort of changing it slightly. We'll sort of be going over one new card, maybe two. Who knows? If there's like a selection of different cards that I just think, let's put them all together, bang, they'll be all together and we'll discuss them all. So basically what I'm saying is, we're bringing back the news updates. Now, this one in particular, this set is coming out in Japan, I think in July at some point, which means it'll be our last set of the year, which we don't have a name for. So far we've got Celestial Storm, which is going to be the next set to come out, which I think is August 2nd or 3rd. Then we've also got Dragon Majesty, which is a set which came out about 2 sets in Japan ago. So we're going to be getting all those cards, possibly some full art trainers from others. We didn't get the full art lady, so where that is, we don't know. But what I want to talk about today is a new GX. Now, I am super excited for this because I wasn't expecting it at all. They released some pack artwork before, which actually had this Pokemon on, and I thought, no, they wouldn't make a GX of that. Surely they wouldn't. They wouldn't. Well, they did. What GX is it? Well, what we're talking about is Magcargo GX. Yes, I said Magcargo. Magcargo GX. It looks amazing. It looks so cool. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I had to look twice. But I'm going to give you my thoughts on this Pokemon, how it could possibly work with other Pokemon, and we'll go through all the movesets and everything like that, as we normally would, but in a bit more detail. So, of course, Magcargo GX right here. It is a fire Pokemon with a HP of 210. That is pretty cool indeed. It's up there with Zoroark GX, so that's pretty cool. So you might be able to get one shot if you're lucky. Maybe a GX will be able to do that. Who knows? So it does evolve from a Slugma. Now, unfortunately, they haven't released anything of a Slugma. No pictures, no details, no anything. By the way, all the details I'm getting are from PokeBeach. That's literally where I go all the time. So I'm just bringing you my thoughts on this stuff. That's all that's happening. So massive thanks to PokeBeach. I'll put a link in the description below, just so people can go head over there. I normally check every hour or so to check, what's going on there. And this came out about a day or two ago, but it's pretty fresh, and I had to definitely put this in first. So Magcargo GX right there. So let's move on over. Let's talk about that first attack there. The ability is called Crush Charge. That's what it's translated as. It is an ability which is pretty cool to see on GX. I always like seeing cards with abilities. Some of them can be game-changing. Think about Malamar with the ability of being able to get your Psychic Energy and put it on to any Pokemon on the bench or active. It's really cool. Really, really good abilities. So abilities are something I definitely look out for, and on a GX, it's pretty cool. What is Crush Charge, though? Well, Crush Charge is being translated as, once during your turn, before your attack, you may discard the top card from your deck. If that card is a basic energy card, attach it to one of your Pokemon. Now, I've just thought of this on the top of my head. A good thing to go with this, so that you know the ability would work. I know it's sacrificing a supporter, but play Mallow. If you play Mallow, you can then set up, obviously if your opponent doesn't end you, or or they could judge you. If we're talking about post-rotation when this does come out, then it should be Judge, if people are going to use Judge. Don't see why they can't. Judge is a pretty good card, in my opinion anyway. So I think maybe using Mallow would be pretty cool, because you can go through your deck, pick out 2 cards, put them on the top, and then you can use this ability and guarantee that you are actually going to hit a fire energy to place on to a Pokemon. Now, it does say, if that card is a basic energy, attach it to one of your Pokemon. It is not being translated as benched or active. It can be any Pokemon. Obviously not your opponent, but, So yeah, it's a pretty good ability. Thinking of it, Mallow would be definitely a good thing to go with this, which is pretty cool. So let's move on to the actual first attack, which is being translated as Lava Flow. Now you need 2 fire and 1 colourless to power this up. You can see it does say 50 plus. Well, let's go into a bit more detail. 50 plus damage. You may discard any number of basic energy cards from this Pokemon. This attack does 50 more damage for each card discarded in this way. Now, think about it. You do that, you add a choice band on there, that's 80 if you don't remove stuff. It does say 50 plus, it doesn't say 50 times. So you're doing 50 already. Say you do actually remove the other two, which would put that up to 150. Choice band 180. You're taking out a Tapu Lele. That's pretty cool for a Magcargo. That is pretty cool. I'm trying to think. There's not really that many ways of boosting this up. There's no way of using Beast Energy on this. It's not an Ultra Beast. There is a few cards that can go with this, which we will get into in a bit. I'm just thinking of some as we crack on through here. But to be able to discard 2 energies, of course, you have got Fire, Fire, and a colourless. Now, it doesn't stop you from having Fire, Fire, Fire. So you could discard all 5. Now, it does say you may discard any number. It doesn't say you have to get rid of them. So that's pretty cool. If it did say get rid of them, it'd be a bit, but you've got the option. So that's pretty cool. Now, of course, the GX ability, what is that? So the GX ability is called Magma Burn GX for 1 fire. Very interesting, and I think there's a few cards that have done this, but this is a bit of a weaker version of what they've done. So that basically translates as discard the top 5 cards from your opponent's deck. Now, we've had other ones before. Gardevoir allowed you to shuffle your discard cards into your hand or deck. No, it was in the deck. Charizard, that's what I'm thinking of. Charizard discards 10 cards from your opponent's deck, but they're literally just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, done. That's the GX done. Now, those 5 cards could be game-changing, or they could just be trash. Now, if we're talking post-rotation, no one's going to have the puzzles of time, so they won't be able to get them back. There is... if say they get rid of a supporter or a stadium, they could Lucamine for them, but then that's a supporter gone. Palpad, they could do that. Order Pad is through the deck, so that wouldn't help. So yeah, it's not bad. I mean, if you really want to like mess people up, just 5 cards. I mean, honestly, sometimes 5 cards can be a game-changing thing, especially if you can get this out just at the end of the game, get this guy evolved, bring him up, you know they've got 5 cards left, bang, GX, you've won the game, because they will have no cards, at least to draw in the next turn, which means they've lost. So yeah, it's pretty cool indeed. I definitely like it. I think this, and I say this all the time, I just want to see what the full art and rainbow is going to look like. They released this, and then just about a few days before the actual set comes out in Japan, they release all of the pictures, and my gosh, do they look amazing, especially when you see all of them. Now, this isn't the first GX to be announced from this set, and hopefully I will have the name. I think it's Thunderclap Spark. I think that is it. SMB7 or SM7B. But Thunderclap Spark, that is what this is coming out as. We don't know what it's going to be called in English because this is just the first set, at least for the next English set. But this looks so cool. So, without further ado, let's just have a little look at what we have here. Obviously, we know this. When the Pokemon gets knocked out, it is a Pokemon GX, so you take 2 prizes. It has a weakness to water. I mean, fair enough. The only fire Pokemon I can think of off the top of my head that isn't weak to water is Ho-Oh, and that's weak to lightning. And the resistance, nothing. Retreat is pretty big. 3 retreat is huge. With Floatstone going to go out of rotation, we have got a skateboard, so that's going to minus it by 1, so possibly 2. You're going to be wanting to put a choice band on this thing, so I really wouldn't think of doing Floatstone. Guzma's just going to be able to switch it out. But 3 is a little bit heavy. Understandably, you are actually powering up 3 there, but you need to have some way of getting that fire back at the discard that you are discarding. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting. So, let's have a little look at my opinion of what works with this card. So, what does work? Let's have a little quick look. These are just a few that I'm thinking of. A lot of these are fire Pokemon. If you want to run a deck, run a full fire deck. It's pretty cool. Salazzle GX. So you've got a few different attacks here. The GX is pretty cool. Heat Blast for 110. Now, bearing in mind, I love Salazzle. Never played the card, but I just love it because all the attacks are the exact same cost. That I think is brilliant. It'd be so annoying if it was like fire for the 2 normal attacks and the GX was a double colourless. Now, as much as that is okay, it'd just be a little bit awkward. Or say, for example, it was fire, 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 and then the GX was fire double colourless. That all works better. If it was that, then it'd be a little bit. But yeah, Salazzle is a pretty good shout. It is a fire Pokemon. It does have a less retreat cost, and surprisingly, it's got the same sort of thing with Magcargo, where Magcargo can power up for 3. This one powers up for 2, retreats for 2, Magcargo 3. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Next one up, Ho-Ho GX. A lot of people play Ho-Ho GX. Now, what is rotating is Volcanion GX, which definitely helps to power this thing up, and also deal some greater damage. Now, a good card to play with Ho-Ho GX is Kiawe. Now, we'll get into that. But I think that could be a pretty good card to play with Ho-Oh GX and Magcargo. It just depends on how you're feeling about doing some burn damage or, you know, chipping damage with the Sacred Fire. The Phoenix Burn is a pretty costly amount, but for having Kiawe on your side, that can be helped. The Eternal Flame GX is a brilliant GX because it allows you to get 3 in any combination of Fire Pokemon, GX or EX, from your discard pile onto your bench. So you could discard them with Ultra Ball, get them back with Ho-Ho, bang, sorted. Obviously, it does get rid of the GX, but it's a nice thing to think of. Talking of Kiawe, there is Kiawe there. I wouldn't possibly say to use Kiawe on Magcargo because you're powering up with 4 cards, or 4 fire energy cards, as much as you're able to use that next turn, because obviously if you remember Kiawe, as soon as you use it, your turn ends. So, yeah, you're like, okay, I can power him up. Oh, hold on, it's got 4 on it. What stuff could maybe, like, utilise energy to kill me? There's a few. Tapu Lele can do some damage if they've got a double colourless, maybe a Choice Band on there. It's going to do serious damage. Whether it's a knockout, I'm not too sure, because I think it only does 20 times the amount of energy on both, which I don't think would be enough. But it is a lot of damage to be done. Kiawe, I think, is good to use on a supporting Pokemon like Ho-Oh. That's what I'm getting at. We've also got TotoTCG GX as well, a pretty strong basic Pokemon there. Shell Trap for 20 during your opponent's next turn if this Pokemon is damaged. You basically put 8 damage counters on it. Very good to just sort of put up the front and be like, go on then, attack me, see what happens. And while they're doing that and thinking about, oh, I need a Guzma or something, yeah, it's really good. You can definitely that helps with setting yourself up, which is pretty cool. Bright Flame, there you go, it does say discard 2 fire energies from this Pokemon for 160. There is not really that much way of getting energy back from the discard pile. Fishing Rod? Does Fishing Rod do it? I think Fishing Rod would do it, and I think that's getting reprinted. So that would help slightly. So there is that to think of. Nitro Tank GX, this is a good thing. Attach 5 fire energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. That, I think, could be very interesting. I think maybe Turtonator with Magcargo. A slug and a turtle. They team up. It could work. It could work. I'm not saying it's going to break the game, but it could work as a nice fun deck to do. You've got 2 different attackers. One having a pretty decent ability, especially if you have Mallow, you can get this stuff powered up very quickly, which is really, really cool stuff indeed. Now, another thing to think of, and this is coming out in Dragon Majesty, is Weller Volcano Park. Now, as much as I believe none of these, maybe Salazzle does, inflict burn, this does help with fire Pokemon that inflict burns. So say, for example, you find a fire Pokemon that you want to run with Magcargo, or maybe Slugma's going to come out and allow it to burn. You put this stadium up, you stay burned. Regardless of what happens, no coin flipping, you stay burned. That could be pretty cool. I'm also thinking of Lysander, the Prism, not the one that's been rotated already. Lysander Prism, that would be pretty cool. I'm pretty sure it's something like draw cards for how many fire Pokemon you have in play. So if you have 1 in active, 5 on bench, 6 cards, you're drawing 6 cards. yes, it is just a one-off use, but 6 cards is 6 cards, and that could be a nice game-changing thing. So Lysander Prism is definitely there. I haven't put that up here, I was just thinking of that in my head. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. But I want to know your thoughts on Magcargo GX. Do you think it's viable? Do you think it's playable? Do you think there are any other cards that can help it? Now, bearing in mind, I'm trying to think after rotation. So when everything is just Sun and Moon onwards. That's what I want to try and think of, is just that. As much as we can talk about what it would be like with the stuff, this card will come out after rotation anyway. So there's no point talking about other stuff. Maybe in Expanded you could use that sort of stuff. But yeah, like I said, let me know what you think on that. Now, something else I really wanted to bring back was, hopefully this works, Guess the GX. I love Guess the GX. And we've had a few more GXs since Ultra Prism obviously came out. We did have some Ultra Prism cards. We've had Forbidden Light. It doesn't have to be GXs, but I'm just choosing GXs. It's pretty fun, and seeing as we keep getting a nice constant amount of them, it's really nice just to go through them. So Guess the GX for this, our first episode back actually on TotoTCG, which is pretty cool. We have this little picture right down there. There it is, a little bit bigger. And there it is, a bit bigger as well. Now, I think this is pretty obvious, I'll be brutally honest, but I thought, you know what, this one did come out in a recent set, let's not spoil it, a recent set, and it's pretty cool. It's definitely a pretty cool card. Let's leave it there before I ruin the whole thing. But, like I said, let me know your thoughts on that. Let me also know your guess on Guess the GX. You're probably going to be able to get it, but yeah, it's just a bit of fun. It's just a little bit of fun. But yeah, in terms of Magcargo GX, overall, I think it looks like a really, really interesting card. It's got a lot of different Pokemon GX and other cards which it can use, which when it does come out in Expanded and in Normal. So it could be a pretty cool card. The ability, like I said, I think that's going to work pretty well with Mallow, because as long as you don't get judged end, however, if you get shuffled, then it's ruined. But you can set it for the next turn. So say your hand is trash or you don't have anything in your hand, bang, no, hold on, we don't have Sycamore. Cynthia, there you go. Put Cynthia, bang. So yeah, that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool indeed. So I will leave it here for this video, guys. So I hope you have enjoyed. If you have enjoyed this news update, I hopefully keep going with constant GXs at the moment, because there's another 2 that I want to go over, give my thoughts on. But yeah, if you want to subscribe for more of this, by all means do so. Like I said, comment down below anything about the card, the Guess GX, and anything in general. Anything you'd like to see on the channel would be awesome. Helps me out, and is really, really cool. So there we go. I'll leave it here, and I will see you guys in the next video on the channel.